Hey campers, here's my opinion regarding the Israeli-Hamas war. How can it be alright for the one side of a war to bomb innocent civilians, but not okay for the other side to do the same thing? Common sense would tell you that the majority of the people living in the Gaza Strip are not supporters of the barbarism of the Hamas. They would much rather be living peaceful lives, not living under the reign or of fear from the Hamas. Largest part of the Gaza Strip problem is that if the Hamas were to allow the innocent to leave, where could they go? Israel? Egypt? The majority of the Palestinian people are in the same boat as the average citizens of Afghanistan, Iraq, or Syria. They are labeled and condemned by the actions of their governing leaders. The terrorist government controls every and all aspects of their everyday lives. You cannot believe that all Palestinian citizens want to go to war. Their hands are tied and their voices are silenced by their leaders. If they were to speak out against Hamas, they would be executed. They, the innocent civilians, are the kids in the playground that are constantly being bullied. Their leaders are the bullies. The problem with that is that there is no principle to punish the bully. Should the war be fought by the opposing military forces with the civilians on both sides not involved with the killing? I think so. When I was a child playing with my war toys, I would line up my plastic soldiers and equipment into opposing sides of the good guys and the bad guys. I didn't bark out imaginary orders to bomb apartment buildings or kidnap innocent civilians, especially not women, children, and the elderly. The scariest part of this is that with this being Israel's 9/11, they have no choice but to avenge the deaths of 1,000 of their civilian innocents. Combine this with Hamas's cowardly act of hiding all their ordnance in civilian-occupied buildings, and you have a recipe for an enormous tragedy about to take place. Israel has the justified right to seek revenge. Sadly, it will be at the loss of many innocent lives. There is little the rest of the world can do about it, especially when you look at history and realize that war has been constant in these countries since the beginning of recorded time. Why do we sit by, watch, and justify kidnappings, war crimes, and torture by both sides? Then again, why do we support and encourage retaliation in any war? What a sad world we have created when religion has become political and politics has no religion. Revenge is a normal response when violence falls upon our loved ones. It's a sad human trait. Most people have the willpower to not react hastily. They will seek out alternative resolutions rather than respond immediately with blind vengeance. Israelis have stated that it is hell-bent on revenge no matter what the cost. Religion has been the catalyst of 99% of all wars in the recorded history of mankind. If you ask me, religion is just another word for cult, a leftover pagan ritual from days long past. Religion comes in two flavors, good and bad, or in the biblical sense, good over evil. A good religion is based on faith and belief in whomever you perceive as your God, preaching proper lifestyles and compassion for our fellow man and the concept for the need of a religious belief. A bad or evil religion uses the same guise of faith and holy scriptures to draw in followers of a self-proclaimed prophet, often leading to the subliminal brainwashing of the congregation. As prejudiced as it sounds, the majority of these followers are from places where education is a luxury that most cannot afford, the lack of such enabling the prophet to easily achieve his goals. Followers are easily influenced and often unaware of the alternate religions or ideals in the rest of the world, knowing only what the prophet wishes them to learn. This becomes the normal way of life in many third world countries such as Afghanistan, Iraq, or Iran, to name a few. In some cases, this is not so. Such is the case for Israel, one of the more advanced societies with a higher standard of education and living than most its neighbors have, placing any foe at a disadvantage. The same scenario takes place in many other of the world's conflicts, both current and past. Bear in mind that Russia is using the same type of warfare to mask their illegal invasion of the Ukraine. Yet for some reason, it appears that everyone has kept silent regarding that. Could it be that no one wants to rock the Putin boat? Within the Ukraine, you will discover a large amount of civilian casualties, majority of which are women, children, and elderly. Has Israel earned the right to commit war crimes and cause suffering for the innocent Palestinians? The ones who do not wish to or support the war? The ones who have had decades of suffering placed upon them by the Hamas extremists? Israel justifies their actions by announcing they have instructed the Palestinian civilians to leave. But I ask you this, leave to where? I'm fairly certain that if they had their own homeland, say perhaps, they would have left many years ago, willingly and happily. Society needs to begin to practice and promote faith and stop falling prey to politics disguised as religion. No matter what you believe or where you are from, the bombing of civilians by either side is wrong. Simple as that. Wrong. Although it appears to be acceptable for certain powerful countries, especially those countries that have browned their noses from kissing the arse of the United States. Sad, sad state of affairs. On a side note, thank God or whoever you perceive as your God to be, that Donald Trump is no longer the president. That is a scary thought by far. Religion will be the cause of the fall of mankind. It has proved this many times throughout our short history. Armageddon is inevitable. The only good that will come from it is that the animals will get their planet back. If mankind survives, society will never be the same. Common knowledge and common sense tells us that we cannot continue on the path of self-destruction we are traveling. Apparently, it is acceptable that Israel starves and cuts water and power to the Palestinians in order to punish the Hamas. They do so with hopes of raising dissension amongst the people of Gaza. The majority of the Palestinians in Gaza are under the mercy of the Hamas. They don't want war. They want a place they may call home. Hamas are terrorists who in the past have used and will continue to use their own people as human targets. Hamas is in the wrong. For those who want no part of this war to leave, they would have to pass through Israel to evacuate. Do you honestly believe that Hamas would allow the civilians to leave? Hamas has been holding their own people hostage for years. Being Palestinian does not make you a Hamas terrorist. To think so is no different than believing that all Muslims are terrorists. Civilians should not be used as weapons of war. Hamas is guilty of war crimes and atrocities beyond compare, and the world will punish them. Russia is guilty of hundreds of war crimes, and the world will not punish them. They would have done so by now. I'm appalled to see that people are posting videos on the internet showing child victims of the Hamas who have been beheaded, and others, adults and children, with their hands or other limbs cut off. All at the hands of the Hamas terrorists. It is extremely sickening in every which way possible. It is wrong in more ways than any words could say. Will the world stand by and watch and allow Israel to retaliate against the terrorists by causing suffering for innocent Palestinians and all the other innocent people who are in Gaza? Of course you all will, because Israel is our ally, and to hell with the innocent people. As far as you're concerned, they deserve it or they would leave. I'm sure many of you will state they were given the order to leave. Again, I ask, leave to go where? Since the end of the Second World War, they've had no place to evacuate to, nor do they have a homeland. They are surrounded by enemies. What neighboring countries that do support the Hamas are just as dangerous, if not even far greater, a threat to the free world. Lebanon is one such place. My fellow humans' behavior and attitudes makes me sick to my stomach. We think we are so advanced, when in reality we are a bunch of violent, revengeful barbarians. Wars all over the planet. We will always be at war with someone because we are greedy and follow religions that preach unity, peace, and love. That is, as long as it's to the people of your own beliefs and kind. We shall not kill. That is, unless they practice a different religion than us. Sooner than later, we will have that Third World War. A war where being a soldier, civilian, elderly, or a child will make no difference whatsoever. A war of wars. Religion is not faith. Religions are cults that prove how prejudiced and full of hatred we all are. All these wrongs society commits will end when we destroy ourselves, and that is not so far away. So, as I am writing this, the news is on my television, and at this moment Israel has amassed hundreds of tanks at their border. They have cut off water and electricity to the Gaza Strip. Food and everyday supplies have no way to reach civilians within the Gaza Strip. Yes, Hamas deserves to be retaliated against. Even I believe that is necessary. However, how can it be achieved without the slaughter of many innocents? It's impossible. What about the innocent people who are at the mercy of the actions of the Hamas terrorists and the heartless Israeli forces? You all condemned Russia for cutting off essential services in the Ukraine, but you are supporting Israel for doing the same. At least the Ukrainian citizens have a large area to flee and do their best to avoid genocide. Israel has full intentions of going in to commit genocide of whoever crosses their path, including many innocent civilians. The Palestinians are not all terrorists. Many want peace. Many wish they had a homeland to go live in. If Israel wasn't in bed with the Yankees, would you still believe it's okay to go in and slaughter the civilians? Yes, Hamas has missiles and such hidden within apartment buildings. A dirty war tactic, one that is considered a war crime. The Hamas justify it by stating that due to the tiny size of the Gaza Strip, where else could they hide their weaponry? Using civilian locations is wrong in every way imaginable. Do you think that the people who are forced to by the Hamas want to be human shields? Do you think they want to be defenseless fish in a barrel waiting to watch their children and elderly die? What the frack is wrong with us? The third and final world war is soon to come, and life on earth will never return to being the same. There is not another fake reality show on television. It is real reality being played out in and on the news, in real time, no less. We need to put the human back into humanity. I would say that we need to give peace a chance, but that will not and cannot ever become reality because we are a bunch of barbarians who falsely believe that we are the superior beings on the planet. And we certainly are not.